Hello basketball fans, and welcome to today's show where we will be talking about all the latest news in the world of the NBA. News ranging from LeBron's injury and the impact of the same on his season to news about how he influenced a star transfer to the team. Stick around to find out all of these and more. Let's start off by highlighting how LeBron James is set to miss the rest of the Lakers season with an ankle injury. LeBron James's quest to win the NBA scoring title will come up short because of his ankle injury. The Los Angeles Lakers announced that James will miss the final 2 games of the season with a sprained ankle, but is expected to make a full recovery. Following the announcement, James tweeted that he gave everything he had and vowed to be back for his 20th season in the fall. The Lakers are mired in an 8-game losing streak and were eliminated from play-in contention with a 121-110 defeat to the Phoenix Suns. James will end up missing 8 of the Lakers' final 10 games this season. He sprained his ankle in the second quarter of a March 27 loss to the New Orleans Pelicans. The 18-time All-Star was able to stay in the game, finishing with 39 points in 42 minutes. After sitting out the next 2 games, James returned to the lineup on April 1st against the Pelicans. The 37-year-old had 38 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists in 40 minutes. That will be his final game of the 2021-2022 season. NBA rules require a player to appear in at least 70% of a team's games, 58 in an 82-game season, to qualify for the league leaderboard. James will finish this season with 56 games played. He currently ranks second in the NBA scoring average, 30.3 points per game. This will be the second highest scoring season of his career, trailing only his mark of 31.4 points per game in the 2005-2006 season. Following his injury, we now highlight why LeBron James won't win NBA scoring title. James will finish the regular season with a scoring average of 30.3 points in 56 games, the second highest mark of his career. Heading into Friday's games, he is second in the NBA scoring, only behind Joel Embiid, 30.4 points. NBA rules require a player to appear in at least 70% of the team's games, 58 in an 82-game season, to qualify for the league leaderboard. Unfortunately for James, he will not meet the minimum number of games, 58, required to qualify for the league leaders. He could technically still qualify under a loophole that would divide his total points by 58 games, but his scoring average would drop by more than a full point. In that scenario, he would fall behind Embiid and Giannis Antetokounmpo with 29.9. Philadelphia 76ers center Joel Embiid leads the league in scoring with 30.4 points per contest. The Lakers, 31-49, will miss the playoffs for the second time in 4 seasons since James signed with the team. They have made the postseason only twice since the 2013-2014 season. In other LeBron news, Lakers front office blame LeBron and AD for acquiring Westbrook per report. The Lakers front office is reportedly blaming LeBron James and Anthony Davis internally for acquiring guard Russell Westbrook during the offseason ahead of the 2021 season, according to Bleacher Report's Eric Pincus. What looked like the perfect team, one that featured James, Davis, Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook, Dwight Howard, and more, on paper turned out to be one with chaos, confusion, no postseason appearance, and 49 losses. James and Davis, who are represented by Clutch Sports Group, lobbied heavily to the team's front office to acquire Westbrook. The failed project from James and Davis advocating for Westbrook did not pay off. However, as reports surfaced throughout the regular season of blaming Westbrook for the Lakers' turmoil, the latest reported news between the team's front office and its 2 stars stems from an overarching discussion that star players have a voice in the direction of a franchise. In Los Angeles, no player's voice is heard more than James's. However, due to the Westbrook project not living up to expectations, the Lakers must still consider the opinions of their stars, but ultimately make the best decision for the franchise. When the Lakers were eliminated from play-in contention earlier this month, Davis planned to meet with James to discuss the offseason. While the two will have their discussion, the final decision about the Lakers' plan for the 2022 season will ultimately be left in the hands of the front office. However, that could mean that every goal from James and Davis's vision for the team may not best align with the overall team outlook. Davis cannot leave the Lakers until after the 2023-2024 season, and James is reportedly considering laying out his contract rather than signing a 2-year extension this summer, according to The Athletic's Sam Amick. Moving on to other NBA news, Klay Thompson has hilarious trade request. The NBA trade deadline season is here, so players need to brace themselves for the uncertainty. If there's one player who is calm and collected though, it's Klay Thompson. Thompson was asked about what the Warriors may need at the trade deadline and brought out a classic reference from Will Ferrell's movie Semi-Pro. Maybe a new washing machine, Klay Thompson joked. Thompson's answer is a reference to the movie Semi-Pro, where Will Ferrell says he traded away a washing machine to acquire a player. It's hard to determine which teams need to make big trades at the deadline, especially because so few teams have actually been healthy. The Clippers haven't had Kawhi Leonard all year, the Nuggets haven't had Murray all year, and the Nets have barely been able to play their big 3. The Clippers threw out the first big opening move in the deadline, trading away Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and a 2025 second-round pick to the Portland Trail Blazers for Norman Powell and Robert Covington. What happens next may be a domino effect of whatever goes on between the Sixers and the Nets. If there are 2 teams that should be fairly content Cleveland with their current rosters, it should be both the Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns. Both of these teams are clearly the two best in the NBA above all their opposition. Next up, Draymond Green reveals how Kevin Durant came to the Warriors. Kevin Durant's decision to join the Golden State Warriors has been one of the most analyzed NBA topics of the last decade. However, how it exactly came to be has always been relatively unclear. There is the widely believed story that Draymond Green called Kevin Durant crying in the parking lot following Golden State's Game 7 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. However, according to Draymond, that is not how it went down. "We were on FaceTime actually when I was in the locker room and we were just talking about the game," Draymond said. He went on to explain that Kevin Durant, like Draymond himself, is just a major fan of the game. This is what led to their initial FaceTime conversation in the locker room following that game. However, Draymond claims nothing about Durant coming to the Warriors was discussed on that call. As Draymond emphasized, the Golden State's pursuit of Kevin Durant was no secret. However, it just didn't go down the way many believed it did. Another important point from Green is that he has no regrets from the 2016 finals. On his Game 5 suspension, Green said, "I don't regret it because happens, and I learned so much from that. If we do win that series, I don't think we get Kevin Durant. And if we don't get Kevin Durant, I'm not sure our run would have continued." While that collapse will always hold its rightful place in history, Draymond Green recognizes that Kevin Durant may not have come to the Warriors had they beaten Cleveland back in 2016. Durant ultimately joined Golden State, elevating their dynasty to unprecedented heights, and that is what Draymond is most thankful for. Finally, Zion Williamson contract extension headlines Pelican offseason. After giving the Suns all they could handle, the season is now over for the Pelicans, who can look back upon the 2021-2022 season as one of immense growth despite early frustrations. You may know the story by now, but New Orleans started off the season 2-14 before turning things around to finish the season with a 36-46 record at the West's 9th seed. They won twice in the play-in tournament, knocking out the Spurs and Clippers before pushing the Suns to a Game 6. What led to the turnaround? Well, Brandon Ingram got healthier, New Orleans' young players began to develop, the team's pieces began to gel, and in February, the franchise made a commitment to winning as soon as this season by acquiring veterans CJ McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., and Tony Snell ahead of the trade deadline. And all of the Pelicans' successes came without Zion Williamson logging a single minute. Willie Green, who has just wrapped his first year as head coach, has proven to be the man to lead the charge for a New Orleans franchise that undoubtedly has a bright future. While he didn't play at all this past season, Williamson will be entering his 4th season with the Pelicans next year, making him eligible to sign an extension that could keep him with the franchise through the 2027-28 season. Of course, the short answer to the burning question is New Orleans will likely offer it and Williams will likely sign. That said, Williamson's standing as an all-star and dominant player before his 22nd birthday means that the Pelicans will be all in on their franchise player. New Orleans has constructed a team built to win around Williamson, and after turning things around in 2021-2022, getting the former #1 overall pick back will just accelerate the growth moving forward. That's all for today, and thanks for watching.